Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. I am Michelle Moses, your host. I'm a certified financial planner, realtor, and former e-commerce store owner. And today we are going to be talking about having multiple streams of income and buying a business to do that. And I have an example of a coinless laundromat. So today I have Jud Holmes here. Thank you for joining me.
Good to be back.
Yeah, he was here a couple of weeks ago to talk about mortgage options for the elderly. Because he is the owner of Innovate Mortgage and has been in the mortgage industry for 22 years. However, I have him on the show today to talk about a side business that he purchased a year ago, a coinless laundromat, and how creating different streams of income is helping him weather the slow time in the mortgage industry right now. So thank you.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on and talk about this because I know this isn't your main line of business, but I admire so much that you had the foresight to see that things were going to slow down, I guess. Is that what it was, or have you always had an interest in doing this?
I knew that things were going to get slow because the interest rates at that time were in 20 and 21, interest rates were around 3%. And so everybody was refinancing. And I figured if everybody's refinancing at 3%, eventually rates are going to go back up. And I think a lot of people were just going to stay in their houses instead of making moves. And rates went up a lot more than I expected. And so in 2022,
but you knew enough to be looking at this and doing the research and kind of guessed, which I think is very, very smart.
Yeah, I guess it was something I always had thought about, even when things were really busy in 2021. I started looking into this, and I guess the timing looks like I was really smart. But
it looks like you're a genius.
It was just happenstance.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I thought you were a genius. I was like, wow, he really timed this the right way.
No, it just happened to work out that way.
Yeah,
so it was just something I had considered. It was probably about a year from starting to look at something before I actually closed on something. So.
And did you look at different businesses, or did you only look at the laundromats? Was this something that you've kind of had your eye on? Because for me, I've always wanted to buy a parking lot. So that's kind of been like my dream of when I retire. Let's buy a parking lot.
That's great too.
Yeah.
I had looked at a lot of different things. I'd looked at different franchises. I had looked at laundromats. I had looked at different. I looked at a lot of different franchises. I thought that might be interesting to go into. Ultimately, I decided...
Like even like a Cold Stone Creamery or something, or just like...
nothing food related.
Okay.
I would never want to get into something food related. I worked enough in food when I was in college. And, that sounds awful. But there were other just different types of business. I looked at FedEx routes, UPS stores, things like that. Things that are recurring.
FedEx routes?
Yeah, FedEx routes are not handled by FedEx. They're handled by subcontractors.
Really? Mm-hmm. And then you buy the trucks?
I don't know. I didn't get far enough. I met with a guy who was really nice, and he had a couple of FedEx routes, and I never got far enough. He dissuaded me enough when we originally talked.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it anymore, so I didn't get into the details.
Okay.
But yes, I assume you own the trucks.
Okay.
And it's basically logistics for routing them around. So yeah, there's tons of different things out there, stuff you've never heard of, never thought of.
That's what I thought of when I looked at the bottom of the Amazon. I scrolled all the way to the end one time, which you never do, right? And they have all the things about the delivery vehicles, and you can buy like areas and things like that. So I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different things that you can do. So this discussion doesn't necessarily have to be just about laundromats. It can just be about all the opportunities that are available and about the resources that are available to somebody that maybe they don't want to do laundromats, but they want to do something else in addition to their normal job, something where they don't have to spend more than 10 hours a week, and it provides some not passive, but some active income, but you don't have to be that active in the
Exactly. And I always talk about how when the market went down in 2008, how if I didn't have my e-commerce store, I would have lost my house for sure. I mean, that was the only way. that I was so new in my business that I think I was only making $40,000 already. I'd started from zero, and then it went down 60% overnight. And so if I didn't have that e-commerce store, I would have been just toast. So I'm very, very big on people having multiple streams of income, especially if your income could go up and down, like in the mortgage industry, like in my industry, real estate. There's all kinds of things that could happen.
Absolutely. And for me, the laundromat, I'm 51 right now. So the laundromat to me, I was looking at sort of a longer term thing that once I'm around 59 or 60, I bought the laundromat with an SBA loan, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. But by the time I'm 59 or 60, the SBA loan will be paid off. And what is already giving me positive cash flow every month. The positive cash flow triples or quadruples once the SBA loan is paid off, because that's my biggest expense by far is the SBA loan. And once that gets paid off, then I've got retirement. I've got a very nice retirement income from the laundromat, where I only literally spend less than 10 hours per week.
Yeah. And you have to go in there 10 hours per week, or is it more like on the computer?
I count that as driving there, driving back, doing payroll on the computer, and spending time in the store, a total of 10 hours. And it's usually less than that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so far it's going great. I have a great staff, and that is one of the key components. Some laundromats don't even have a staff. Mine does have a staff, and there's different types of laundromats that you can look into.
Yeah.
In that regard.
So how did you end up finding the laundromat idea? Like, are there people that sell these franchises and things, or did you look online, or?
Well, there's individually owned mom and pop stores that you can buy, and those you have to be very leery of the numbers that they tell you, because they probably do a lot of business in cash and they don't report everything. And so when you look at their tax returns, it might show that they didn't make any money, but they swear up and down that it made $50,000.
Right.
So it's hard to audit that. I ended up buying from a national franchise, and so their books are very tight because they have to be. And so I looked at multiple years of tax returns. I'm in the mortgage business, so I understand how to read tax returns, because that's what I do all day long. And so I got a good sense that the numbers were legit. And I looked at some of the record keeping from the franchise side to show how they calculate the income and the royalties and things like that. And
so there's nobody that hooked you up. Like there isn't a person out there selling these franchises. It's like you did a Google search and then you saw that some were for sale.
I found this one in particular on bizbuysell.com. So it's bizbuysell.com.
Okay.
And it has hundreds of thousands of companies listed all across the country.
Okay.
And that's a website you can filter by state, filter by industry, and things like that. And so that's where I found this particular opportunity.
Cool.
Yeah. And so I still have I still check Biz by Sell all the time, just in case something interesting comes along. Usually, I'm like, that's going to be too time consuming for me to take on with already having a mortgage business and a laundromat. But I kind of do it as a hobbyist at this point, just seeing what else is available, and eventually, maybe something else will come up.
I mean, that's kind of, I feel like that's how investing goes. I mean, you're just kind of seeing when the right thing pops up, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's, speaking of investing, I could have invested, the down payment that I put in the laundromat, I could have put it just in the stock market and try to make something that way. But the returns you can get from owning a business are orders of magnitude higher than what you can get by investing in stocks or even real estate. But you have to do a little bit of work.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it is a job. And I mean, it's just like if you bought a rental home or something. I mean, it's work, so it's not like things just print money. I mean, a lot of it, you have to put work into it.
Yeah. And there's a myth of things you can do that is passive income when you buy a business. And there might be 1/10 of 1% of those that when they say it's passive income, it actually is. But usually there's going to be more work involved than you think. I knew that there was going to be work involved in this, and it has been more than I thought. Even at 10 hours a week, it's more than I thought, and more mental work than physical work, like
having to think things over, and
insurance, replacing water heaters, which I don't do myself. I hire somebody to, but there's a lot of things that come up that you just don't think about. Payroll, human resources. It's if you've never run a business before with a bunch of employees, which I had not. My mortgage company is just me, so this is the first time I've ever had employees, and balancing their schedules with how much you want to that you're able to pay them and things like that. So it's a lot of more mental stuff. And once you do it for 3 or 4 months, you're like, okay, I can do this now. So it's creating a whole new skill set for me that I'd never done before.
Yeah, you have to think really hard at the beginning, I'm sure.
A little bit.
Yeah, and do a lot of research.
Yeah.
Make sure you're not messing it up either, and you probably have to make sure that you're not breaking any laws.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is very key. And so you hire consultants, and so there's added fees from accounting and tax planning that I pay my accountant more. So now I've got an accountant that looks at my personal income, my laundromat income
And your mortgage.
and my mortgage income, and then they have to figure out how to tie that all together and maximize the deductions and things like that.
Right.
So, yeah. So it's but yeah, I'm glad I did it, because if I hadn't done it, I'd really be twiddling my thumbs right now in the mortgage business, because it's really slow right now.
Yeah. So you're glad that you have something to do.
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's keeping your mind busy.
Keeping busy. Yeah.
Okay. So you found this on bizbuysell.com, and then you called them, and then you kind of kick the tires and they send you information. Is that how it works?
Yeah, this was listed by a business broker, which you could also just call a business broker and tell them that you're looking for something. And he or she, if they're good, they might go find you something. But this one, I reached out to the business broker that had it listed, and they sent me information, non-disclosure agreements, and things like that. And then I start reviewing it. I look over all the numbers, put it into an Excel spreadsheet, and just I figure out, okay, here's a price that I'm willing to pay, because it brings in this much net income. And then we do a letter.
So they didn't have a price that they were going to sell it at.
They did have a listing price, and I don't want to go into all the details of that, but they did have a listing price, and we started that as a negotiating point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
So,
right. I didn't realize that franchises would do that.
Well, franchises make the distinction between starting a franchise from scratch versus buying a location that's underneath the franchise. So the gentleman that sold this business to me, he started it from scratch as a new location. So there was nobody, there was nothing there. It was just raw space. There was nothing in there yet. They didn't have any customer base or anything like that. I looked into buying a laundromat franchise like that also. I didn't want to do the ramp up period. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to do the year and a half, 2 years of bringing all the customers in, getting everything
advertising,
started,
things like that. Yeah.
So you can do it a lot cheaper by starting from scratch and starting with a new franchise from the very bottom. Because what I did is I bought an existing business that already had a customer base and a successful profit and loss. So you pay a premium for that, which I was okay with. I understood that, because I didn't want to didn't have the time to go through the ramp up period, because
it's like busy. Me wanting a potty trained dog. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So if you want to start from scratch, you can get a better price than what I paid, because the startup costs for starting a franchise are less than buying an existing performing business.
Absolutely.
In my experience.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And there's value in the work that you put in. So that makes complete sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
He put a ton of work in. He built up a good business. He built up a good staff. And so I paid more than I would have if I started my own place. But again, I was okay with that, because he put in the time. I didn't want to put in the time to build it up from scratch.
Yeah, you just wanted to buy something that
was cash flowing and at a fair price for both of us.
Yeah. Okay. So then you buy it, and you went with an SBA loan. How long did that process take? And how did you know that you're in the mortgage industry, but how did you know that you wanted an SBA loan? Did you look at other loans also?
Yes, SBA was the best terms. When you my laundromat is on a lease, it does not come with the property, so there was no real estate involved. So an SBA loan, if you're buying something that's on a lease, the longest term they'll do is 10 years. So that means you're amortizing the loan over 10 years. If you have real estate involved, they will do as long as 20. I think maybe 25 years in some cases, which would be great. That would give you a lower monthly payment, slightly higher interest rate, but a lower payment. But in this case, it was the best I could do was to get an SBA loan.
Because you did not own the real estate.
Because it does not come with the real estate. And with the SBA loan, you can put as little as 10% down on the purchase price. And if you have a seller that's willing to do a seller carryback, you can. So in this case, I ended up putting 15% down, and then the seller carried another 10% approximately.
Okay.
So carried another 10%. So I only put 15%.
So the seller carryback basically means that the seller is financing some of it and not getting all their cash right away.
Correct. Yeah. So I'm paying him a monthly payment for the first 3 years, and at the end of 3 years, then there's a balloon payment for the remainder. And we'll have no problem meeting that based on the cash flow that we've had so far.
Okay.
And so once I pay him off, then my cash flow goes up a little bit more, because I'm getting rid of that monthly payment, and then I can start applying that much more towards the SBA loan.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have the SBA loan, were there other options out there, or is it kind of like a desert?
There would be. You'd have to do a lot of Googling, and a lot of places they will do, I talked to a guy that would have done a refinance with a pretty high interest rate, but it was a 20-year term. It would be based on a 20-year amortization with a balloon payment due in 5 years. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good, but there are private banks out there that'll do that kind of
Okay.
stuff. You just have to do some looking around. I got a referral from my accountant to a place that would do it. So there's different options to do it. But SBA,
I've heard they're really hard to get just because of all the paperwork. I mean, is it a lot to go through?
It is a lot to go through. And if I wasn't in the mortgage business and expect that much level of paperwork, it almost drove me crazy anyway. I halfway through the process, I started looking at other options, and none of those other options were as good. I think that the SBA lender that I use sucked. And I would never use them again because I thought the person that was doing the processing did a terrible job. She didn't do a good job of telling me what I needed. She didn't do a good job of expressing what I had given her already. So SBA lenders, much like residential mortgage lenders, they can be really good or they can stink. And this place stunk, but I was too far into it at this point to change. And so I finished it up and we wrapped it up in December of 22.
Okay.
So and yes, it took a long time but like I said, it does. I'd shop around to find somebody good.
And what is the timeline from when you are under contract? I mean, do you have to get approved for the loan before you actually go under contract with the?
No.
Okay, so you just went under contract with this guy for the laundromat, and then you went and found financing for it.
Yeah, they before they decided to proceed with me, because you do a letter of intent to buy the place. Before they'll proceed with accepting your offer, they want to see some financials from you. They want to see a bank statement showing
that you've got some cash to put down.
That you have money to put down, and that you have the wherewithal to complete the deal. And so, my financials all look good. And so after we did all that, then we proceeded. And it took way longer than I thought it would, mostly because of the SBA loan.
Yeah. What was the start to finish time on that?
Letter of intent was May, and we got done in December.
Whoa.
So it took almost 7 months, and it shouldn't have.
That's a long time.
Well, yeah, and it shouldn't have. That, like I said, that's an almost entire.
Do you think it would normally take like 4 months or 5 months?
I think 3 to 4 should have been reasonable. Yeah, 3 to 4 should have been reasonable. Yeah.
Okay, and they were willing to hold on then and not blow the deal up. Like there was no timeline, I guess.
Me and the owner were in constant communication. He has been great, and I'm in constant contact with him still to this day. And so he didn't. I mean, he helped me. He trained me up and everything. And I still talk to him all the time. Like if I
he wants his payments too. I mean, so yeah, it makes sense.
It's not just that. He's just a high character guy.
Yeah,
and
good.
I could tell after dealing with it. Even if I had already paid off all the balloon payment, he'd still take my call. He sent me a mortgage deal 2 months after we closed.
Look at you networking even when you're buying a business.
Yeah, well, we got along great. I trusted him, and he trusted me, and so I'd say that's one of the biggest things if you're buying a business from anyone. If you're getting a bad feeling about them, just a bad gut instinct, buy a different one. There's no such thing as a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Well, and you're going to be working with this person a lot, so you got to be. I mean, it's just like anything. You want to be working with people that you like.
Exactly. Yeah. So I trusted him, and we went through the whole thing, and. Yeah, so they even though it was taking a long time, he knew I was taking a long time, and I explained it all along the way, and he's like, "That's fine." So we worked it out, and I wanted to get it done in 2022 for tax reasons, which we can go over if you like.
Why is that? For writing it off?
When you buy a laundromat, and there's a lot of what we call capital, I think it's called capital equipment, which is all the washers and dryers and things like that. You can depreciate all of it in the year that you buy it.
So you only owned it for a few weeks, but you got to depreciate it for the whole year.
Right. And since I'm self-employed on the Innovate Mortgage side of things, most of the income that I made from Innovate Mortgage was washed out by the depreciation I took on the purchase of the laundromat.
Yeah, much like buying a rental home or something.
Yeah, so it reduced my tax bill substantially for 2022. There's still some leftover depreciation for 2023, so it'll reduce my tax bill in 2023 also. So for me, there were other financial incentives to offset the Innovate Mortgage business that may not have been obvious to somebody that's maybe a W-2 employee.
Right.
So, because if you're a W-2 employee,
you can't write off all that.
Yeah, it would be different. So there were other financial incentives that I gained by owning two separate companies, and so that's why it's worked out for me even better than just the positive cash flow on a monthly basis.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's been very helpful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So now you buy the business, and what was it like when you got it? I mean, so you just go in and meet the new employees, and they turn over all of the electronic, and I should say all the passwords and things like that to log into stuff.
Yeah, the first day was a whirlwind. I can't believe how many keys I have now. Do you remember Schneider?
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you like the janitor or whatever with all of the?
I have a ring of keys that has like 25 keys on it, and I know what every single one does, and I just want to shoot myself.
Yeah.
So so there's keys everywhere, and I've got them all in one ring in my car. And I was like, at the end of the first day, I was like, oh my God, I've made a huge mistake.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, first 3 or 4 days, I'm like, this is overwhelming. I could not believe all the stuff I was learning. Just like anything, I guess, it was like starting. It was starting a new job.
Yeah,
it was starting a new job, and I'm like, I was seriously freaked out the first 3 or 4 nights until I got my legs underneath me. So, when anybody buys a new business, if you guys do this, you're going to have the same feeling.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you shared that because I didn't know that you felt that way when you first bought it.
Oh yeah. I was like, oh my God, this is a mess. I have locked myself into a 10-year SBA loan on something that is going to drive me to an early grave. And after a week, I was like, okay, starting to get down, getting familiar with all the employees and everything like that. And I'd say 2 months in, I felt comfortable enough that I went down to Cabo for 5 days for an anniversary/birthday trip. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. Yeah.
But it took a few months. I think that's what I used to say that when I managed people. I'm like, you got to give it 3 months.
The terror went away after 3 or 4 days. I'm like, okay, it's not as bad as that.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of time there, obviously, the first couple of months because I wanted to learn how everything worked and things like that. But and
get to know your employees.
Yeah, the idea that
the
idea that I'd made a huge mistake went away pretty quick. It went away after like 3 or 4 days. But I mean, like I said, after 2 months, I was good enough, and I got the system down enough. I'm like, I can go out of town for 5 days, and this can run itself while I'm gone within reason. I left the keys and some passcodes with one of my best friends, and he took care of a couple of things that needed to be taken care of at the store while I was gone.
Well, like what would that be?
So even though it's a coinless laundromat.
And so, wait, let's back up. How is it coinless? Because do people go in and like charge a credit card to get like when we're going to like the arcade?
You buy a laundry card.
Yeah, and you're buying a laundry card. Then you put the card into each.
Yeah, you buy a laundry card, and you can attach more money to that either by debit or credit or by cash. And so you still do have some cash. I do have lots of cash.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when somebody comes in with a $100 bill, they don't want to put $100 on their laundry card. So I've got a bill changer. They throw 100 in, and it gives them a bunch of 5s and singles.
Okay.
And then they can put that into one of these 2 card dispensers. So if they only need $5 or $10, they can put a 5 in or 2 5s in, and it'll credit their card.
Okay.
And they just put their card in the little holder, and it credits it to their card. It's a really sophisticated system. And this is one of the benefits of buying into a franchise with like national support and stuff like that. This is a high-tech system that a Luddite like myself could never figure out how to put together if I bought a laundromat from
on
a
your
mom and
own.
pop.
Yeah,
there's no way I'm going to be able to figure this out. So buying from a place with the good technology built in was a benefit for me because it is coinless. I don't have to schlub 200 pounds of quarters around.
And so on the computer, you can basically see what each washer and dryer is bringing in and how many loads and can you see if it's got something wrong with it too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I have attendants that work there. There's always at least one person there, sometimes 2, depending on how busy it is. And they'll tell me whether a washer's broken before the system will tell me. They'll just send me a text, say this one's down, call. We have a guy named Greg that goes around and fixes all of our stuff. He's a great guy. And so if there's a broken one, we just they send a text to me, and I send it to Greg, and he fixes it.
Okay.
But where was I going with that?
Oh yeah, sorry. Your friend, passcode, and Cabo. I took us down another road.
Yeah. So when I was down in Mexico, the bill changing thing gets full. It can only hold so much money, and so I needed him to go in at least one day to get all the cash out of the 2 card dispensers and to refill the 5s and 1s in the bill changing machine.
So do you go to the bank? You go to the bank basically and get change and then load it.
That's one way to do it, and that's the way I did it the first month. And I'm like, well, this is dumb. I can just take
the money
out of the machine,
one machine, and
count
put it in
up
the other,
and just put it back in. So
Yeah.
and then I just go deposit the rest.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do have to go down there to do the cash machine.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's I go in typically on Monday because weekends are busy, and I typically go in on Friday to fill it up because weekends are busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I go in on Monday and Friday to pick up, and that's pretty.
Okay.
Those are the days I'm always there.
And so if you have to go out of town, those are the things that you need to get covered, make sure are covered.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So if I go out of town, which is fairly frequent, I've been out of town 5 or 6 times since I've owned it, and one time was for 9 days, and it was fine. So my friend went over and took care of it in the middle of the week, and it was good.
As long as you have somebody that you can trust.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
I actually would trust my manager to do it, but she just doesn't want that responsibility. I trust her completely, and she'd be fine with it. She'd be good at it. She just doesn't want to do it. She doesn't want that responsibility.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's fine. So
Yeah.
I just send my friend in to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so can we go back to the financials of it? So you're feeling like, so you're paying, so you put 15% down, 10% was financed by the seller, and then the rest of it was an SBA loan.
Correct.
And in a couple years, you'll have the first one paid off.
I will have the seller carry paid off. I have to have it paid off by January of 2026.
So in about a year.
Yeah, so it's two more years.
Oh, 2 more years.
Yeah,
I was
'cause
thinking
it
next
was-
year was 2025.
Yeah, it's a 3 year. It's amortized over 10 years, but it's a balloon payment due in 3 years. And
Okay.
so the payment is based on 10, but the balloon is due in 3, and so that just helped me get a little bit lower payment.
Right. Okay. So, and with all of that, you're still cash flowing, or are you basically saving all the money for the balloon payment?
It's cash flowing. I haven't taken any money out of the business checking account yet. I'm just letting it accrue because I know that payment is going to be coming due in a few years. And even though the mortgage business has been slow, I still have made enough on the mortgage business to pay my bills. So I'm kind of living off of the mortgage business right now.
Yeah.
And I'm letting the laundromat accrue to help pay off the first of all the seller carry, and then second of all the SBA loan.
Yeah. Because your, your goal with this is more about retirement rather than having
I have a very long time
income now.
Yeah.
But I guess if you did need income, there would be a way that you could pay your bills if something, if something happened.
Yeah. I just want to get the debt paid off first.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So what are the ranges of prices of some of these laundromats?
So I've seen individual mom and pop places sell for be listed on Biz Buy Sell or just other sites that have been less than $100,000, and I'm sure that doesn't have attendance. And it's probably something where
you would have to work it. You'd need to be there on the weekends or something.
I don't know if you'd have to be there at all. I went to one that just has a sliding door that it's open 24 hours, and you just have people just go in. It opens when you walk up, and then you go in. I found the listing. I walked over. I drove over to it, and I walked in. And I'm like, well, this is real simple. So the only thing you'd have to worry about then is just you'd probably want to check it a couple times a day, just make sure nothing's broken.
Vandalism and stuff like that too. Yeah.
So I've seen that, and I've heard of really busy ones that have wash, dry, and fold service and pickup and delivery that are making $1 million. That are these humongous places that have 80 machines and they're making millions of dollars.
That's a business.
Yeah,
though.
those things. Yeah, those things can go for $2 or $3 million. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a big range depending on the time and effort that you want to put into it, or what your lifestyle is like. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. So there's the one, like I said, that cheaper one. That's something where it takes quarters, and I'm sure it takes change and all that stuff, and people just walk in and do their laundry and then they leave, and it's not attended. The one that I have is attended, and so we have people that come in and do their own laundry, and we also have people that drop off and they pay us to wash it, dry it, and fold it. And so the profit margins on the wash, dry, fold are higher. So we like that kind of business because it makes more it makes more for our machines to run while we're doing wash, dry, fold than it does for somebody that's doing self-serve. Okay.
Right.
Taking that one step further, I could also attach on a pickup and delivery service if I want to. Then I need to buy a van or two, and then you drive around to either residential properties or commercial properties and ask them if they need somebody to pick up and laundry. And so there's a niche for that also. I was thinking about doing that. I just talked to the guy I bought business from, and we talked about it. And there's a lot of logistics that goes into that.
Yeah, I would imagine, especially with insurance and.
Yeah, and so I might do it. but I'm not as enthused about it after talking to him. So I might try other ways to boost revenue.
So when people drop off their laundry, so does your attendant make more when they're doing that?
No.
So they make the same amount whether
they're
they're
hourly
Okay.
wage. Yeah.
Okay.
They're hourly wage. I also give them tips, and because they get tips through the system, and so we tip them out every
good.
month. Once a month, I pay my employees weekly, and we tip them out based on what comes in on the wash, dry, fold, and add that to their paychecks. And I give them. One time I was out of town and there was a fire marshal inspection. I didn't know about it. They don't tell you ahead of time. So the fire marshal came in, and anyway, I got this notice from my manager. She said, "Hey, the fire marshal was in today. I guess we had an inspection, but we passed." And I'm like, "Okay, that's great," because I was out of town. And so I gave everybody a $50 fire marshal bonus because
because you passed.
Because it didn't cost me anything in fees. I'm like, thank you guys for being great. You guys keep a clean store, so I'm going to reward you that. So I like to give bonuses and little things like that along the way, just to show them that I appreciate them.
Good,
because I do. They're fantastic people.
Yeah, and I think you need to show your employees that you appreciate them. Yeah. And so when you're paying payroll, is it all just electronic, and then their checks are mailed to them? Like what that was all set up?
It's direct deposit. I use a national.
So it's like paychecks or something like that.
Yeah,
okay.
I use paychecks. So I get their hours, I put them into paychecks, and doing payroll on Monday morning takes me less than 5 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's included in the 6 to 10 hours per week that I spend. Yeah, that's really easy.
And so you do that on the computer?
I just do that on the computer. I can do that from anywhere. I can do that from Mexico, which I did.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I mean, that's what you want with some businesses is you want to be able to work from anywhere.
Yeah. The only thing that ties me down to being here geographically is getting the cash machines cleared out once or twice a week. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
It can run. I mean, I have had some technical issues with Cox Internet, and they've been a pain to work with, quite honestly. And
no one will be surprised to hear that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not giving away any trade secrets here. The water heaters that came with the property, they worked, but they were temperamental. And I know the previous owner was just dealing with them and kept on bringing repairmen over and meeting them there. And I just threw money at the problem. I'm like,
we're just going to get new ones.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm getting 2 new ones, and we're done.
And I would assume you go through water heaters a lot faster than
No, you're not supposed
person.
to. No, you're not supposed to. The ones that they had just sucked.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the ones that I bought in March or April haven't had any problems yet.
Okay.
And we're on a regular scheduled.
So you won't burn through them faster than like a normal house?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, they're built. They're built to be commercial water
Oh,
heaters.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're heavy duty.
Shows you how much I know about water heaters.
No, they cost a lot more than a home water heater, but they're supposed to last longer too. And I probably do better maintenance on the ones at the store than I do at my house, so I have them scheduled.
True, that's true.
I have them scheduled to come over on a regular basis and descale them or wherever it is. It's some technical plumbing.
No, I know what you're talking about. We had to do that with ours. So
yeah. So there have been unexpected expenses like that I wasn't. You can't ever know everything. You just can't.
Right. I mean,
you will not know everything. I still don't know everything.
Yeah, and there's always going to be, and I think it's just with dealing with people. It's dealing with the times. Mm-hmm. It's just life experience is what it is.
Yeah.
With any business.
Yeah. Like one thing that took me a little bit of time this week, which was sort of a hassle, is somebody was doing their laundry. They left it in a dryer. They took off for like 2 hours. While they were gone, somebody inadvertently or on purpose took their clothes. And we have signs up all over the place to say, we're not responsible for your lost or stolen items. Keep an eye on your shit. Pardon. Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry about that.
It makes it real. It's all right.
Yeah. But that was my attitude. But she asked me to get video footage to see what happened to it. And she filed a police report. So I kept on getting these inquiries from Mesa PD that they needed video footage. I didn't know how to get video footage downloaded from the video camera. So I had to deal with the video camera company, who were terrible. They were not of no use at all. Finally, I figured out how to do it on my phone. I'm like, okay, so
so you did it on your phone?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've got access to the cameras on my phone.
Yeah.
So I figured out how to record footage. I found recorded footage of her putting her stuff in, her being gone for 2.5 hours, and then some guy taking it out that wasn't her, And I sent all that to Mesa PD, and I told the lady, I did as much as I could, and I've sent it to Mesa PD. I'm not going to give you video footage of a bunch of other people doing their laundry because I think that would violate some privacy issues, but you can check with Mesa PD and follow up with them because they've got the footage. So, and then wash my hands of it. So, but
talk about a lesson. I mean, stuff comes up.
Dealing with all of that probably took a total of 2.5, 3 hours trying to figure out how to do this and dealing with the video company. So that was an unanticipated 3 hours of wasted time this week. But
there will always be something. I mean, not every week, but there's just always going to be stuff that pops up.
Yeah, and next time it happens, I'll get it done in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So I figured out a system to do it, and now it's easier. Now.
That's the hardest part, I think, about doing anything new. I mean, it's like doing this podcast. I mean, when you first start, I'm like, oh my God, my brain hurts. Like, how am I? You're really having to think, and then it just becomes more like second nature.
Yeah. So that's exactly right. Anything that you have to do on a regular basis, just make a system for it, and anything that comes up every now and then, well, like that. I still have a system for it, but it doesn't happen all the time. And by the time it happens again, I might have forgotten how I did it.
Yeah, right.
I know it's so
infrequent.
infrequent. I'm not worried about it.
I hate it when that happens. When you're like, I knew this. Why didn't I write this down?
Yeah, I should write it down.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I was so glad I was done with it. I just expelled it from my brain.
Yeah. So am I missing anything big? I feel like I've gotten a lot of the details about it, but is there anything big about the laundromat or running this business that you feel like we're missing and sharing with people?
No, I think we've covered it. I mean, there's a huge range of prices and revenues that you can get. So you can start off really small. I think the biggest thing is when you're buying from anyone, reliability on what they show for income is
everything.
The most important thing.
Yeah.
Because if it is a small individual operator and they pocket all the cash and they write everything off, you don't really know what you're buying. So I don't know how to account for that other than like watching them like for 3 months,
right? And seeing how
much they're actually bringing in and checking out all their bills because they're not keeping honest books because they don't want to pay taxes.
Yeah.
And so something like that would
and
be
it's
tough.
kind of the same thing. I mean, you're in the mortgage industry, so I mean, you're kind of used to this. Is that people don't want to claim income, but then when they go to buy a house, it's like, well, you need to claim some income if you want to qualify for a mortgage. So it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, there's lots of self-employed people that I've met in the mortgage business that say I make $700,000 a year. I get their tax returns and their top line revenue is in fact $700,000, and they've written off every single penny, and they made $46,000 for their bottom line. They're like, yeah, but that's just personal expenses. I'm like, well, then that doesn't count.
Right, you can't write it off.
So now you have to go get an interest rate that's 9.5% instead of currently 7%. But that's okay because you just fleeced the government out of $150,000. So you should be fine with that.
Right.
You can
pay it on one side or the other.
You can reduce your tax bill by hiding everything from the IRS, or you can take a high interest. You get a really good interest rate, but you can't have both.
Right.
So.
I agree.
I fell into mortgage talk there. Yeah.
No, it's okay because I think people get so obsessed with not paying taxes, and I'm like, you're keeping so much of what your $1 is that just stop getting hung up on it. You're still making money. You're still making 75 cents on the dollar or 70 cents on the dollar.
Yeah, but I think that point sprung from the idea that when you're buying a place, whether it's a laundromat or a restaurant or anything, you have to have reliable profit and loss figures and reliable tax return figures so that you know what you're dealing with, because you don't want to get there in day one and be like, the revenue is not nearly what I thought it was. And the expenses are much higher than I thought they were. So that's pretty important.
Yeah, especially the expenses part. That would be
exactly
very bad.
Yeah. So there's just a lot of due diligence that you need to do. And, I think that the whole process took us 7 months, but it could have been quicker if the SBA loan wasn't such a mess. But it's important to go through the books.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so I mean, it's been a lot of work for you. I mean, I wouldn't say it's as much work as some other company, some other business that you would have built, but it's still work.
It is.
You know, anytime you're going to make money, there's still just a little bit of work that goes into it.
And for the amount that it pays me, it's not very much work. Mm-hmm. So that's the key. And
but you did your due diligence. I mean, there's the SBA loan. I mean, it's all adds up, I guess.
Yeah, it does.
I mean.
Now that I've got it on a good system and I've got 5 great employees, it is very very.
But you could say the same thing about your mortgage business. I could say the same thing about my business. Is like once I get a network going, I'm starting to get referrals, and it just gets easier and easier. And that's like any business.
Yeah, and like I said, to any of your listeners that end up buying a place and they're absolutely terrified of what they've just done the first night, that's just going to happen.
Yeah.
That's just the way it's going to be.
That is Jud's PSA for the day.
Yeah, the more you know. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on to share this story. I really, really appreciate it.
You bet. Yeah, thank you. Glad
it's
to be back.
It's been a lot of fun. And thank you, everyone, for listening. And be sure to subscribe and tell your friends and scroll all the way down and give me a review and let me know if you have any topics that you want to hear. I do hope that this has been helpful in just making your financial life a little bit more interesting and fun. And thank you so much for listening, guys.